Imagine a nation plunged into darkness, not by a natural disaster, but by a few malicious keystrokes. This is not science fiction, it's the reality of cyber warfare. In 2007, Estonia, a digitally advanced nation, experienced a crippling cyber attack. Its banks, government websites and media outlets went offline. The attack, attributed to Russia, served as a wake-up call to the world. Cyber warfare was no longer a theoretical threat, it was a clear and present danger. The Estonian attack was a watershed moment. It exposed the vulnerability of critical infrastructure to cyber attacks. Power grids, communication networks, financial systems, all connected and susceptible. This attack was a taste of the future where wars could be fought and won without a single shot fired. A small group of hackers, potentially state-sponsored, could inflict significant damage on a nation. This new form of warfare leveled the playing field, empowering smaller states and non-state actors. It challenged the traditional notions of power and deterrence. The Estonian attack forced the world to confront the growing threat of cyber warfare. Warfare has always been about exploiting the enemy's weaknesses. In the digital age, this means attacking their information infrastructure, their command and control systems, their very ability to function. The evolution of warfare is inextricably linked to technological advancements. Just as gunpowder revolutionized warfare in the 14th century, so too has the internet revolutionized warfare in the 21st century. The digital realm has become the new battleground, where wars are no longer fought solely on land, sea or air. Cyber warfare has become an integral part of modern warfare. Nations are investing heavily in cyber capabilities, developing offensive and defensive tools to wage war in the digital realm. This shift from traditional warfare to cyber warfare is a fundamental shift in the nature of warfare itself. In the digital realm, certain nations have emerged as cyber superpowers. These countries have invested heavily in developing sophisticated cyber capabilities, creating elite units of cyber warriors capable of launching devastating attacks. They use these capabilities for espionage, sabotage, and even to influence elections. The United States, Russia, China, Israel, and North Korea are often cited as the leading players in the cyber warfare arena. Each nation possesses unique strengths and strategies, making the cyber landscape a complex and constantly evolving theatre of operations. Their activities raise serious concerns about global stability. These nation-state actors engage in a constant game of cyber one-upmanship. The rise of cyber superpowers has added a new layer of complexity to international relations. It has blurred the lines between peace and war, making it difficult to determine when a cyber attack constitutes an act of war. One of the most challenging aspects of cyber warfare is its elusive nature. Unlike traditional warfare, where battle lines are clearly drawn, cyber warfare takes place in the shadows. Attacks can be launched from anywhere in the world, often with little or no warning. Attribution is notoriously difficult in cyber warfare. It is often challenging to determine who is behind an attack, as attackers can hide their tracks using sophisticated techniques. This anonymity emboldens attackers, allowing them to operate with a degree of impunity. The lack of clear attribution makes it difficult to respond to cyber attacks. Without knowing who is responsible, it is impossible to retaliate effectively. The Stuxnet worm, discovered in 2010, marked a turning point in cyber warfare. This sophisticated malware, believed to be a joint effort by the United States and Israel, targeted Iran's nuclear program. It infiltrated industrial control systems, causing centrifuges to spin out of control and disrupting uranium enrichment. Stuxnet was the first publicly known cyber weapon to cause physical damage. It demonstrated the potential of cyber attacks to transcend the digital realm and impact the real world. This attack raised the stakes in cyber warfare, showing that it was no longer just about stealing information or disrupting systems. It could now cause physical destruction. The Stuxnet attack sent a chilling message to the world. Critical infrastructure was vulnerable. It was a wake-up call for nations to invest in protecting their power grids, transportation systems, and other essential services from cyber attacks. Stuxnet unleashed a new era of cyber warfare, where nations felt emboldened to develop and deploy cyber weapons. One of the most vexing challenges in cyber warfare is attribution. Determining the source of a cyber attack is often difficult and time-consuming. Attackers can use sophisticated techniques to mask their tracks, routing their attacks through multiple servers in different countries. The difficulty of attribution creates a dilemma for nations targeted by cyber attacks. Without clear evidence of who is responsible, it is challenging to formulate an appropriate response. Retaliating against the wrong party could lead to unintended escalation. The lack of clear attribution also makes it difficult to deter cyber attacks. If attackers believe they can act with impunity, they are more likely to launch attacks. This underscores the need for international cooperation in attributing cyber attacks and holding perpetrators accountable. Cyber attacks can have unintended consequences that extend far beyond their intended targets. A cyber attack on a financial system, for example, could trigger a global economic downturn. An attack on a power grid could disrupt essential services, leading to widespread chaos and even loss of life. The interconnected nature of our world amplifies the potential for collateral damage from cyber attacks. A cyber attack in one country can quickly cascade across borders, impacting businesses, governments, and individuals worldwide. The risk of unintended consequences makes cyber warfare a dangerous and unpredictable domain. Nations must weigh the potential benefits of a cyber attack against the risks of unintended escalation or collateral damage. The growing threat of cyber warfare has spurred a global arms race in cyberspace. Nations are investing heavily in developing offensive and defensive cyber capabilities, seeking to gain an edge in this new domain of warfare. This arms race has both positive and negative implications for global security. On the one hand, the development of more sophisticated cyber defenses can help to make the world a safer place. By hardening their systems and networks, nations can make it more difficult for attackers to succeed. This can deter cyber attacks and reduce the risk of cyber warfare. On the other hand, the development of more powerful cyber weapons raises the stakes in any future conflict. The cybersecurity arms race highlights the need for international cooperation and arms control agreements in cyberspace. The future of warfare is inextricably linked to the evolution of cyberspace. As nations become increasingly reliant on digital technologies, cyber warfare will likely play an even more prominent role in international conflicts. The question is whether this will lead to a world of cyber dominance or one of digital détente. Some experts predict that cyber warfare will become the dominant form of warfare in the 21st century. They argue that nations will increasingly rely on cyber attacks to achieve their strategic objectives, as these attacks offer a low-cost, low-risk way to inflict significant damage on adversaries. Other experts believe that the threat of cyber warfare will lead to a new era of digital détente. They argue that nations will recognize the shared risks of cyber warfare and will work together to establish norms of behavior and deter cyber attacks. The future of warfare will depend on the choices that nations make today. In an era of escalating cyber threats, cybersecurity is no longer just an IT issue. It is a national security imperative. Governments, businesses, and individuals must all play a role in strengthening our defenses and staying ahead of the curve. Governments must invest in robust cybersecurity capabilities, both offensive and defensive. They must also work together to develop international norms of behavior in cyberspace, deter cyber attacks, and hold perpetrators accountable. Businesses must prioritize cybersecurity, protecting their networks and data from attacks. They must also be prepared to respond to and recover from cyber attacks, minimizing the damage and disruption to their operations. Individuals also have a role to play in cybersecurity. By practicing good cyber hygiene, such as using strong passwords and being wary of phishing attacks, individuals can help to protect themselves and their data from cybercriminals.